Good afternoon, dear members of the Government Commission, dear ladies and gentlemen. Today, the Government Commission is dedicated to the flight testing of the flight complex and approval of the prime and backup crew members of the Soyuz-MS-07. Upon the recommendation from our senior gear, approved by the Designer General Commission and taking into account the technical reports on the status of the International Space Station and the process of rocket launcher preparation. The decision is made on launching on December 17, 2017, Soyuz MS-07 transportation vehicle with the international crew to the ISS. Yesterday, in accordance with the schedule of the launch preparation, the integrated testing at the launch pad was performed. All the activities were completed in full with high quality. Let's discuss the agenda. Report of the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center, Pavel Nikolaevich Vlasov on the readiness of the crew members and the recommendations on the prime and backup crew members. Good afternoon, dear members of the Government Commission, ladies and gentlemen. In order to perform space flight for 54, 55 increments on the ISS, we trained the following crew members. Prime crew members: Roscosmos cosmonaut Shkaplerov Anton Nikolaevich, commander of Soyuz-MS vehicle, flight engineer, increment 54, commander of ISS 55. Tingle Scott, NASA astronaut, flight engineer 1 of Soyuz-MS vehicle, flight engineer of the ISS during increments 54, 55. Kanai Norishige, JAXA astronaut, flight engineer 2 of Soyuz-MS vehicle, and flight engineer on board of the increment 54, 55. Backup crew: Roscosmos cosmonaut Prokofiev Sergei Valeryevich, commander of the Soyuz vehicle, flight engineer on the ISS. ESA astronaut Alexander Gerst, flight engineer of the Soyuz vehicle, flight engineer on the ISS. NASA astronaut Janet Epps, flight engineer 2 of the transportation vehicle Soyuz-MS and flight engineer on board of the ISS. Training program of the crew members has been completed in full. All crew members have passed the required examinations and undergone examination simulations. Upon completion of the medical commission, the crew members are acknowledged as fit for flight. The Intergovernmental Commission on the readiness of the crew member training has reviewed the results and has provided the conclusion. Increment 54, 55 crew members of the long-duration space flight to the ISS are ready for flight on board of the Soyuz and on the segments of the ISS. The training has been completed in full, so taking the above into consideration, we are asking the Government Commission to approve the following: to approve the prime crew members for the launch of the Soyuz vehicle. Commander of the crew, Shkaplerov Anton Nikolaevich, flight engineer 1, Tingle Scott, flight engineer 2, Kanai Norishige. Backup crew members: commander of Soyuz vehicle, Prokofiev Sergei Valeryevich, flight engineer Alexander Gerst, flight engineer 2, Janet Epps. Thank you. The report of the technical manager of Yuri Romanov on the readiness of the launch complex for a launch. Yesterday, we performed the activities for the first launch day. No issues were noted. Upon the completion of the activities, the rocket launcher and the Soyuz vehicle are integrated and ready for launch. That completes my report. Thank you. Any questions, any additions? Oleg Petrovich Skorobogatov, please announce the draft conclusion. The decision of the Government Commission on the flight testing of the flight complex has reviewed the reports on the readiness of the ground segment and the prime and backup crew members. The decision of the Governing Commission is as follows: to approve the crew members for Soyuz vehicle. Prime crew members: Shkaplerov Anton Nikolaevich, Roscosmos; Flight Engineer Tingle Scott, NASA; Flight Engineer 2, Kanai Norishige, JAXA. Backup crew members: Commander of Soyuz vehicles Prokofiev Sergei Valeryevich, Roscosmos; Flight Engineer Gerst Alexander, European Space Agency; Flight Engineer 2, Janet Epps. Second item, to continue the preparation of the launch complex, perform the tanking, filling the fuel tanks. Any issues, suggestions? None heard, so we approve the decision. Dear Shkaplerov, General Director of Roscosmos. Dear Anton, Scott, Norishige, Sergey, Alexander, and Janet, you are fully trained. You have completed the training and met the requirements and passed your tests and examinations, and you're ready for flight and for executing a very intense program you have to perform on board. We are confident that the completed training will allow you to complete this program successfully. As far as the backup crew members, Sergei, Alexander, and Janet, you have undergone the entire training. You have shown your readiness for your flight. And at the designated time, we're looking forward to seeing you back here as prime crew members. All and every success. Thank you. Next, ISS Program Manager from the NASA side, Kirk Sharman.
Jeanette, Sergey, Alexander, congratulations on completing your training. I know it's a great effort and a job well done, so congratulations. Anton, Scott, and Kanai, so also congratulations to you on completing your training. And you have a very busy mission ahead of you. There are 5 U.S. EVAs and 1 Russian EVA also planned during your 168 days planned on ISS. You also have a very, very robust scientific program, over 329 investigations, 85 of which are brand new and never been performed on ISS. So we have great confidence in your ability. We know that you'll be successful. We also hope that you'll spend some time and enjoy the best view in this part of the solar system and look down on this beautiful planet that we live in. And while it might be a little chilly tomorrow when you launch, I promise warm weather when you come back.
Next, Director of the ISS program of the Japanese agency. Dear Roscosmos, GCTC, and RC Energy managers and other space agencies, our international partners, and everyone who has invested so much effort and their soul into the preparation of the flight for launch. I would like, from the bottom of my heart, to express my appreciation for your productive work for the implementation of all the goals and sincere belief in our effort. I am very glad to see the smiles on the JAXA crew member face and his crew members, his crewmates, Anton and Scott. Norishige is ready for the science experiments, and the JAXA module, Jim, is ready to welcome you on board. This schedule on board of the ISS is very intense, and I am sure you're going to gain a unique experience on board of the ISS. And Sergey, Alex, and Janet, I know that you're ready to fly now, right now, immediately. However, my advice is to enjoy the remaining part of the training prior to your launch. because I guarantee you that the best that can happen, along with the uh, better than the flight itself, is training before the flight. Thank you. Executive Director of the Crewed Spaceflight Division of Ars Energia, Mr. Sergei Krikalev. Dear colleagues, congratulations on the completion of the next stage. I understand it wasn't that easy to complete this training and final instructions and be ready for spaceflight. However, you completed it. I would like to say thank you to everyone who worked on your training, because it's not just your effort, but an effort of a whole team of instructors who were training you to work space hardware and equipment correctly. And just yesterday, we met Sergei Ryazansky, who just came back, and he was in Moscow. He's asking me to say hi to you and wishing you all the best. And he's going to keep in touch. So if you have any questions, you can contact him for questions and help. And I would like to wish you all the best and good luck, because everything you could, you have already completed. Now we just need a little bit of luck to make sure everything goes as planned. Thank you. Director General of the Rocket Space Corporation, RSA Energia, Mr. Solntsev. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to congratulate the crew members on the completion of a complex and intense training program in preparation for flight. Mr. Kirk Shireman has reminded you that you're going to have a quite intense program. Just yesterday, we were welcoming the crew members who landed. Everything was well planned and went smoothly. I wanted to assure you that the Russian hardware is reliable. We're fully ready for launch. I wanted to wish you a confident launch, successful flight, and productive work on board of the ISS. Russian Space Launch Complex is ready for launch. ISS is looking forward to welcoming you on board. All the best. And as they mentioned before, we're looking forward to welcoming you on Earth during the warmer season. We'd like to ask Anton Nikolaevich Shkaplerov, commander of the Soyuz vehicle, to speak. Dear Chairman and members of the Government Commission, I would like to express our appreciation for your trust that you have invested in our crew. As the crew commander, I would like to assure you that the crew is fully trained for completion of the tasks or recovery from abnormal situations that might come up. I would like to express appreciation to thousands of people on our planet who have trained us for this flight, who are going to provide support while we're on board and will help us rehabilitate after landing. I would like to express appreciation to our backup crew members, to Sergey, Alex, and Janet, who helped us during joint training. I'm confident that you're going to take our seats in the small hall behind the glass wall and will be taking over for us on board. Flight Engineer Scott Tingle. Good afternoon. Thank you. It is a great honor for me to be a member of our international team. I would like to say thank you for excellent training. I'd like to express appreciation for your trust in us. We're ready for flight. Flight Engineer 2 of Soyuz-MS-07 crew, Norishige Kanai. Good afternoon.
I'd like to say thank you so much for your all support and instruction for our preparation for the flight. And especially I want to say thank you to my backup crew. Sergey, you are very quietly but always keeping eyes on us and taking care of us always. And I cannot wait seeing you flying to the space as a commander of Soyuz. And Alex, you are kind of engine for 6 of us. And thank you very much for sharing your previous flight experience. And it's very useful us, especially Scott and I. And I'm pretty sure you will be a good ISS commander in your next flight. And Jeanette, we together went through all trainings and examinations and all requirements. And I'm pretty sure your time will come pretty soon. Thanks to the backup crew and thanks to everybody in this floor, мы готовы к полету.
We're ready for flight. Next, an opportunity to speak is provided to Prokofiev Sergei Valeryevich, backup crew commander. Dear colleagues, dear chairman, commander of the backup crew can say that we have completed all training. Our crew members are ready to complete our subsequent tasks after the upcoming launch. I would like to say thank you very much to everyone involved in our training who has been taking care of our health. Thank you to everyone who was making decisions to assign us. Thank you very much to the prime crew members. I would like to wish a successful launch and productive work on board of the ISS and nominal and smooth landing. I'd like to ask Flight Engineer Alexander Gers to speak. Dear Government Commission, dear members, I would like to say thank you to everyone who helped us train, to the degree we are ready for working as backup crew. And dear prime crew members, guys, as colleagues, as friends, I would like to wish you all the very best. Have a good flight, smooth landing, and we will see you after your mission. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. An opportunity to speak is provided to Flight Engineer 2 of the backup crew, Janet.
I'd like to thank the Commission, all of the instructors that worked with us and prepared us for flight. We are ready for flight, as the prime crew is, and I wanted to make sure that all the instructors knew that we really appreciated all of their help and everything that they've done to get us to this point. And lastly, I'd like to thank the prime crew for all of the good insights and all of the information that you've given us and help with the backup crew. Thank you, Anton. Thank you, Maker. And thank you, Norishige. And so that I don't forget my crew, Sergey, thank you for everything, all the instruction, all the help that you've given me in the Soyuz to help prepare me for flight, and as well as you, Alex. So thank you very much. And thank you, everyone.
Dear Anton, Scott, Norishige, on behalf of the Government Commission, I would like to congratulate you on the confidence invested in you for flight on board of the International Space Station and the Soyuz vehicle. We wish you all the best on the ISS and looking forward to seeing you on the ground. The meeting of the Great Commission, of the Government Commission has been completed. Thank you. Dear colleagues, dear guests to GTC, just now there was a meeting of the Government Commission in this room that approved the prime and backup crew members of increments 54, 55. In accordance with the flight program to the International Space Station, the launch of the Soyuz-07 from Baikonur is scheduled on December 17th at 13:21 local time. Please allow me to introduce the crew members. Prime crew, commander of the Soyuz-07 vehicle, flight engineer of increment 54 and commander of increment 55, Shkaplerov Anton, Russia. Flight engineer 1 of transportation vehicle Soyuz-07 and flight engineer increment 54-55, Tingle Scott, NASA. Flight engineer 2 of Soyuz and Flight Engineer ISS Norishige Kanai, JAXA, Japan. Backup crew, commander of Soyuz vehicle, Prokofiev Sergei, Russia. Roscosmos, flight engineer of Soyuz and ISS, Alexander Gerst, JAXA, Germany. Flight engineer 2 of Soyuz vehicle and flight engineer of the ISS, Janet, NASA, United States. Dear guests, dear ladies and gentlemen, please ask your questions. Roscosmos TV station. Please go ahead. Hello, dear crew members, Nikolai Vdovin, Roscosmos Video Studio. I would like to ask you, how are you planning to celebrate Christmas, and how would you like to congratulate the humankind for 2018? First, I'd like to welcome everyone who traveled to Baikonur, and on this cold day, you had an opportunity to visit us. We'll be glad to answer all your questions. First question is quite fitting. About the new year, it's my third flight. It's going to be our third New Year celebration on board of the ISS. We have a Christmas tree on board, and there's a new Christmas tree arriving soon. And we have packages, gifts for all crew members, for ourselves, from family and friends, and packages for the crew on board of the ISS. It is labeled December 25th for U.S. crew members and December 31st for us from Russia. We do not celebrate New Year 16 times, but we started about 10 o'clock in the morning. We passed the first spot where they celebrate New Year, somewhere on the Eastern Islands. And then we have Nemo on our crew. We're going to celebrate New Year per Japan time. Then in Russia, when we get to Europe, using Greenwich time that we use as our ongoing time on the station, and then we wake up early in the morning and congratulate our crewmates from the United States. Go ahead.
Rob Navius with NASA Television. 2 questions for Scott Tingle. Scott, Friday's rollout of your Soyuz rocket was conducted under crystal clear skies, the moon and Mars side by side in perfect symmetry. What does that symbolize in terms of the International Space Station's role in paving future journeys away from the planet?
Exploration of space is part of our evolution. All of the little steps that we've taken previously to the seemingly big steps we're taking now will all add up in preparation for our bigger step back to the moon and to Mars and beyond. And seeing all of that lined up through the pictures the other day was absolutely inspiring to realize that the little steps we're taking right now are going to really turn into some big things within the next decade.
And Scott, your mission is going to be, it'll last through the first half of 2018, a year that will be highlighted by, amongst other things, the 20th anniversary of the launching of the first component of the International Space Station next November. Could you have imagined that the station would have lasted 20 years, much less now peak into its prime as a world-class research laboratory?
Before I joined the community, I would not have thought that would have been possible. But after meeting all of the magnificent people that work on this program around the world, it does not surprise me that we're going to probably surpass 25 years of operation with the world's greatest engineering marvel ever. And it's a true testament to what we can do when we work together in the international community.
I'm in Furuji, NHK Tokyo. So I asked Mr. Kanai in Japanese. So Kanai-san, 打ち上げまで1日を切りました。今の心境をまず教えてください。そしてまたミッションが6月まで伸びました。それを受けてこのミッションの意気込みを合わせて教えてください。
The question is about the feeling just one day before the launch. The answer is so we 3 crew members working together for a long time, and for me tomorrow is, of course, it's a special day, but to me, it seems like just another new day together, working together with these crew members. Also, I got a second question from NHK, which is any thoughts about the extended missions? That means we are currently landing date is a little bit prolonged, and June 3rd is our new landing day. My answer about the new landing date, by working with these magnificent, super nice, experienced astronauts, colleague astronauts, I'm learning a lot every day from everybody in this room. So by adding extra dates, weeks for the mission, I hope I'm gonna learn more and more from my commander and my colleague in space station.
加えてバイコヌールに入ってからご家族とお会いしましたか。そしてお会いしたら、どんな会話をしたいか教えてください。
そうですね。The question is about did I see my families and what kind of talk did I have in this place in Baikonur? Yes, I met my family members here in Baikonur and talked a little bit, but it's not special for space flight. It's more like a usual daily talk with family members. Like, it's very cold here compared to Tokyo, or the food here actually very good for Japanese tan. So I confirmed them they liked the food here.
Здравствуйте, Анна Самойленко, телевизионная.
Good afternoon, Anna Samoilenko, Space Center Usually News Department. Anton, you're going on your third flight tomorrow. Along with that, you have 2 college degrees and you're also a candidate of technical sciences. I am sure a lot of young people would like to be like you. However, what should they do? Should we all do to motivate the young generation to be like Anton Shkaplerov? Thank you for a good question. It's true. Unfortunately, in Russia, the profession of a cosmonaut is not that popular. Not everybody knows what we do when we fly into space. That's why I wanted to ask our colleagues to cover as much as possible the events of their flight, to explain to children in simple language what we do in space in order to get to fly to space. You don't have to do anything complicated. You just have to be a regular child, be physically fit. I have to listen to your parents and set a goal and follow it to the very end. You need to get a college degree, get the required experience of working in your area, then fill out an application, travel to Star City in Moscow region, and undergo the cosmonaut selection. They're going through another selection right now. So if anyone is having doubts, do apply. So everybody, all in our cosmonaut corps who were applying or prior to application, were thinking the cosmonauts are heroes, they're Superman and Superwoman. We can't be like that, but we did. We made it. At that channel, question to Anton Nikolaevich and Mr. Tingle. Anton Nikolaevich, they already mentioned that it is your third flight. You have a lot of experience. Your feelings different from what you felt prior to your first flight and now.
This is going to be your orbital debut, so to speak. And but still, how have you been spending these days, your final days before the launch here on Earth? How have you been spending time with your family, with friends, and how has the preparation been going? Thank you so much.
Thank you for a very good question. It's really my third flight. It's hard for me to remember all my emotions prior to the very first launch. Scott, when he's answering his part of the question, he will answer what he's feeling now. I remember I was nervous a little bit. I was worried I would do something wrong and fail people who have been training me for quite a while. I've been in space for about a year, if you add up 2 flights. So right now I don't feel nervous. I know exactly the plan that we need to execute for the next 24 hours and then launch. So for me, I know it's a job. Some people do their work, they do something better, and I fly into space.
This is my first flight, and on the brand new side of it, there's a part of it that makes me a little anxious, so I'm spending a lot of time preparing and making sure I'm ready to do everything exactly perfectly. And also, as a first flight, there's a large part of it that's the first time I'm ever going to see this, and I'm very excited. As far as the family goes, I have 2 kids that are living out of the house now and one that lives in the house, and this has been an opportunity to spend some really good time with them just before Christmas. And so we're spending a lot of time just arguing like all the families do, having fun with each other. My family is very dynamic, and they like to play jokes on each other, and it's very funny to watch. And other than that, все нормально. Спасибо.
Hi, my name is Daniela from the U.S. I have a question for Jeanette. And when you were young, did you ever think about being an astronaut? Thank you.
That's a great question. I did think about being an astronaut, but I never thought that they would pick me. So I decided to become an engineer. And through that route, I made it into the astronaut course. So I did a lot of studying. I went through graduate school, undergrad and graduate school, 11 years. So I did a lot of work in school, and then I worked for a motor company, and then for the government. I've been with NASA for about 8 years. So it's a long road, but as a kid, you dream about doing a lot of great things. Keep on that road and keep doing those things, and you never know where you'll end up.
My name is Yu Hasegawa from TV Asahi Japan. Then this is a question for Mr. Kanai. Then I think you are going to stay in the space for almost half an year. Then do you think are you going to miss something or maybe someone who would you feel attached to? Thank you very much indeed.
My answer is since space station is a very sophisticated outpost in the space on orbit, and we can email, we can telephone, we can even TV meeting with family members, and everything for necessary for the living is there already. So we can just go there and work and come back. So it's simply there's no differences. For example, I'm working in Houston usually, but just like living in Houston and communicating with family members in Japan, just same thing, living in space and communicating with family members from the space. And I don't think I will miss anything from space station.
My name is Azumi Kuroyo from TBS Television. I have a question to Mr. Kanai, but it's related to other countries. Obviously, this mission involves Russia and United States. And you see many battles in the international arena of those 2 countries. But how do you view the relationship of the crews from those 2 countries? And what role can Japan play in that situation?
Actually, we are all rivals. No, just kidding. But we are together working just like we are not just crew members. We are like brothers and sisters working together every day for the our common goal. So that's so the country's background is no problem. It's very minor thing for us. Just that we are humans and working together for the same goal. And I think this is the beauty of the space station program. There's scientific researches, there's education, blah, 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 many goals we have, but the most important thing is we are, as a human, working together and aiming the same goal. And I think that's the most important thing for us.
Andrei Milentiev, a question is to the crew members. Well, work is work, but as they mentioned several times, you're just ordinary people. Anton is going to be in space and celebrating his birthday third time in space. Crew members, are you going to celebrate it? Congratulate him somehow. Andrei, thank you for your question. Well, as an ordinary person, I will have to invite them to my birthday party. Unfortunately, I won't have my family and friends on the ground at my birthday party. Well, I'm going to get gifts from my family. There will be a package that's going to be labeled open on February 20th. We'll be looking forward to the cargo vehicle that's going to arrive just immediately prior to my birthday. They're going to send some fresh food and some treats that are not usually available on board of the station. So I'm going to make some strong tea. So we're going to celebrate it same way we do on the ground. I'm probably going to get gifts, and usually even in space, the birthday when you get birthday, they pull you up by your ears. Nobody pulled off any ears yet.
So when we get there, the first few hours, hopefully we'll have a very joyful greeting with everyone and celebrate our arrival, and then celebrate more with a good sleep. As we get going, as soon as SpaceX should be docking before we get there, the holidays are coming up, and I have some special gifts for my fellow crew members that will help us bring in the Christmas and the New Year. And of course, we have Anton, our world-famous commander. His birthday is coming up in February, and I can't tell you what we're going to do there because it's a surprise.
Thank you, dear friends. This completes this part of the press conference. Thank you for your interesting questions. Crew members, thank you very much for your answers, and let's take traditional photographs. Prime and backup crew members together, and then prime crew members. Thank you. Thank you, prime crew members, and Sergey, please stay and wait for us in the hallway.
Антон, вас попрошу подойти к стеклу.
Anton, could you please approach the glass?
Я помню, первый раз такая маленькая была, где-то вот так.
So I remember first time she was this tiny.